Hey, you geeks! I have a slight cold this week, so bear with me. After putting it off far too long, I read The Alloy of Law, also known as Mistborn 4, or Wax and Wayne 1, or Mistborn Era 2, The Western. Except it didn't read as a Western to me. When I think Western, I think three things.
Horses, cowboys, and horses.
And there were no horses. Sando doesn't like horses, so this is hardly surprising. The Wax and Wayne are cowboy types. It is unclear if they had anything to do with cattle at any time. Their story begins when they move to the big city, the big steampunk city. And I like steampunk far more than I like westerns. Thus, I actually enjoyed Wax and Wayne. It was, dare I say, a cute steampunk mystery. Not as hard-hitting as other entries in the Cosmere, but a thoroughly enjoyable romp. And now for my spoilerific breakdown of characters, world building, magic system, and plot. Waxillian Ladrian. The newest member of the Sanderson Dead Wives Club.
His wife is dead. Hey,
Robin!
Sando is really good at killing wives and not fridging them. In fiction. In fiction. He gives Wax half a year to be in catatonic grief before the plot really gets going. More importantly, we get to see Lessie's death have real impacts on the flow of the plot. It's not something I can relate to, but I can empathize. And I've never seen a story justify why a man would choose the less interesting woman in a love triangle. Wax is interesting enough all on his own. I'd heard people comparing him to Batman, but I didn't expect him to be Batmaning around Elendel in the first chapter. I'd hoped Tiom would grow into a good Alfred type.
It's not just your name, sir. It's your father's name. And it's all that's left of him.
But Sando is fortunately not that derivative. Wax is just so effortlessly cool. He only needs one trusty sidekick to ask what exactly he packed for a dinner party.
Is that a Glock in your pocket?
No,
What?
it's 2 Glocks.
Wayne. I can't decide if John Wayne would appreciate sharing a name with this lovable ragamuffin. Sure, they share a thing about hats, though unlike John or Bruce, Wayne can play multiple character types with his fine hats, his range of accents, and his odd sort of empathy, though his natural Cockney Aussie accent ups the whole punky vibe.
Maybe I'm not a fancy gentleman like you with your very fine hat.
And Sando, of course, gives him a tragic backstory, which dictates his weapon of choice. Wayne is a guy with a moral code that is unlike anything anyone has ever heard of before. Thus, he is quite amusing to puzzle out. Marcy. Her story is really sweet. The illegitimate, useless lady finds purpose in her life. Her statistics and sharpshooting give her her own useful set of skills.
I believe you've underestimated me, mister.
What have
But I don't know. She's lacking something to bring her on the same tier with the other amazing Sanderson characters I have fallen in love with. It's like she doesn't have enough of her own thing, as she unfortunately falls under Vin's shadow. A young female protege to a male veteran in the business of killing people. But this time they're on the side of law, not crime. Also, Marcy comes from the other side of the tracks.
That is mahogany.
Maybe her problem is Sando just didn't know how to write lawyer-type characters yet. A skill I don't think he acquired until Evershore. Steris. I'm betting all the fandom talk I've heard about Steris being best girl comes from later books. Her ability to calculate and fulfill society's expectations is unique. I don't really know what Wax sees in her, but I can appreciate a woman who, upon agreeing to marry a complete stranger, known for his rough and tumble ways, makes it perfectly clear what she will be willing to put up with. She's a woman who knows her own mind, and it seems after Wax destroyed the Vanishers for her, she has a mind to marry him. World building. It's not every book whose prequel details exactly how the world was built. In The Hero of Ages, when Sazed took on the powers of preservation and ruin,
push and pull, life and death, good and evil, yin and yang,
to become harmony, I expected Elendil to be more of a low-tech San Francisco, or like the modern Hong Kong, designed with ultimate feng shui and ruin gates. Instead, Elendil felt more like Paris, with its 8 octants taking the place of the 20 arrondissements. This city is what pushed Wax and Wayne firmly into steampunk for me. Exactly 0 westerns and with a shootout in a subway station. Had there been cows or horses, I might revise my opinion, but there weren't, so I won't. I love that the constables are called Connors by street folk in place of our word's use of copper. Also, the broadsheet, which wasn't included in the audiobook, put it far more into the steampunk city vibe. Its little foreshadowing and train depiction set up the finale beautifully, while helping fill in the background of what it would be like to live in this world full of everyday superheroes. Magic system. As usual, Sando crafts a delicately balanced magic system which highlights each character.
The high-ridingest, rootin'-tootin'est cowboy hero of all time, Sheriff!
Wax's steel-pushing and ability to change his weight gives him a very showy combo of powers, while Wayne's time bubbles and healing gives him a fighting style unlike any other. He's like the opposite of a teleporter. Since Wayne's combo could be overpowered, Sando tempers it with Bendorloy and health being very difficult to obtain. Discussing the financial burden of magical powers reminded me of the second most relatable plot point in The Way of Kings. I may not be able to fly through the sky, but I can budget like a superhero. It also helps that Twinborns are comparatively less powered than Mistborns. Sure, Wax can crush small buildings, but he needs outside force to climb a skyscraper. That being said, Miles' 100 lives is ridiculously overpowered. I get he's supposed to be, but not being able to feel pain? That's ridiculous. If he could feel pain, then Baccano gives us an excellent method of how to deal with functional immortals on trains.
This means I can flay you alive and such. Gouge out your eyes, then crush your beating heart in my hand while you watch.
I highly doubt any of Sando's heroes would stoop to such methods. Better to take out the villain with brains than brawn. Though even with all their smarts, it still took 6 rounds from a firing squad to kill Miles without his gold. I'm assuming he just swallowed a metal mind or something. I know he is devoted to another god, Trell. And I know that overpowered god medals are totally a thing. Thus, not knowing his secret remains just the right type of mystery to get me to read the next book. That and Marsh showing up as Death, along with a book of secrets. Plot. I didn't think a book this short could handle 2 prologues, but if it weren't for the wife killing, this book would be far too fun for a Mistborn book. Then Sando uses chapter 1 to execute the perfect Chekhov's gun chess in the finale with a little sassy nod from Harmony. This is the first time a shard has been downright helpful in the Cosmere, and no gods were harmed in any way. Odd. The train heist was fun, though not much of a mystery for me, since all the essential components are visually explored in Shining Time Station.
Cinders and ashes, cried Thomas. It's a dragon.
This riddle was child's play, yet seeing Wax solve it was fun. I did wonder for a moment if Lord Harms was the elusive Mr. Suit, since he managed to get out of harm's way when the Vanishers attacked. But once Marcy started asking about Wax's uncle's death, my suspicions were certainly diverted. Likewise, Marcy complaining that her powers being useless made it quite clear they would be essential for bringing Miles down, though I thought she would somehow be able to slow his healing. Though having her commit to that level of homicide is a bit too soon. Instead, Wax first gets to bend a bullet and pull a Robin Hood to save the day. I'm sad that the original kidnappees were never found. They were, for all intents and purposes, fridged for the plot. But it gives me another reason to pick up book 2 and see what fun adventures Wax and Wayne will get up to next time. Thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe if you would like to see more. Your patronage is greatly appreciated.